Okay. So good morning, everybody. Happy President's Day. Yeah. Okay, so the Parsha this week is Vayakhel, and it's kind of a repeat, but now the execution of the last several Parshas. So we've been having all of this detail about the tabernacle and all of the things that need to be built and designed, and all of the we've gotten the architectural and engineering schematics up till now. And now in this Parsha, it is about actually doing the work and making it happen. And one thing that I want to focus on in the Parsha is that God chooses Bezalel and endows Bezalel with Chochmat Lev, this wisdom of his heart, mind, some kind of wisdom, and infuses him with a spirit, right? This Ruach Adonai, this spirit of God, in order to make the creations of the tabernacle. God also appoints Ahaliav. And then also we hear about the women who they come with their generosity of heart and their elevated heart and spirit, and then the men, and then all the people, and it's anybody who has this Chochmat Lev to serve God through creating the vessels and the things of the tabernacle, they should do that. So I actually wanted to look a little bit, if you guys will allow me, at the Kabbalistic mystical significance of Chochmah and what that's all about, because it's very interesting. They're actually from the Sefer Yetzirah, which I will just show and tell time. Okay, you can see I've read this book 100 times and have a million markings, but Sefer Yetzirah, this is a translation by Mordechai Kaplan. But the Sefer Yetzirah is considered to be probably the oldest written text of Jewish mysticism. And one of the teachings in the Sefer Yetzirah, it's actually the very fourth paragraph of it, it talks about these 10 spheres of creation. It says, the 10 spherot of nothingness, 10 and not 9, 10 and not 11. Understand with wisdom and be wise with understanding. It's hevin bechochma, we should understand with chochma, v'chacham bebina, and you'll be wise with understanding. So what does all of this mean? I just wanted to read to you a few of Mordechai Kaplan, what he is understanding it to mean. He says, understanding involves verbal thought, while wisdom is pure non-verbal thought. Understanding consists of the normal reverie where the person thinks things out so as to understand and organize their thoughts. Wisdom, on the other hand, is pure thought. And in particular, it refers to a state of consciousness where the mind is not engaged in reverie. So you know how the mind is always blah, 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 blah. And Chochmah is some state that we achieve where all of that gets very silent and where we're just in a state of pure conscious awareness. Sounds a little bit like a meditative yogic thing, doesn't it? Yeah. He continues to explain the state of wisdom or Chochmah consciousness is one of pure non-verbal thought, which is very difficult to attain. In an attempt to attain the state of Chochmah consciousness, it is in an attempt to attain the state of Chochmah consciousness that the various meditative methods are used. Thus, mantra meditation attempts to clear the mind of reverie by filling it with the repeated words of the mantra. Similarly, contemplation pursues the same goal by filling the mind with the contemplated object. So this is the Jewish recipe for how do we achieve higher states of consciousness. And Torah is, at least according to the Kabbalists, it's speaking to how did people create these things of beauty? How do you know, like a craftsman, an artist, a poet, a writer, anybody who creates something from nothing? How do you create? And the teaching is that we don't create through the prefrontal cortex, through the logical, analytical, rational mind. We're actually creating through more of the occipital lobe, through the visual and memory and just pure download of information that goes beyond the verbal. So how does this relate to yogic practice? We're still going to move in the physical body, but I thought we could also do some things that bring us more into this less thinking. I don't know. Does that sound good? Less thinking, more just letting things bubble up to the surface, or kind of, so let's start with a little bit of either a mantra meditation or a contemplative meditation, according to this definition. So what does that mean for you? You can choose a word or a phrase and just repeat that over and over and over in your mind, filling your mind with that. Or you can contemplate a visual image and hold that picture and continue to come back and come back and come back and return to that. Okay, so that's the offering. We'll start by just getting into the body with some breath, and then I'll give us maybe like just 2-3 minutes. Let's just sit with some form of filling the mind to sort of silence that reverie, right? That focused, mindful awareness, and see what shows up in that space. Okay, so I invite you to sit comfortably and really take a moment to find what that comfortable seat feels like. Do you need to lean forward slightly on the sit bones? Do you need to lean back slightly? Are you engaging the belly but not gripping with tension? Can you bring some softness to the shoulders, some softness to the forehead, the eyelids? See if you can come to a place where the body feels like it's at ease in this place, in this moment. And then just notice yourself being filled with breath on the inhale. And notice the release of that breath on the exhale. So just stay with the breath coming in and out of the body for a moment and see if you can quiet down the words that are also playing in the background, right? As if you are the one in control of the remote control and you're just muting the volume of the words going on, and just see the images. And then choosing one thing to focus your awareness on for the next several minutes. That one thing you'll keep returning to. And if you notice the mind getting chatty, you don't do any harm to yourself, you don't berate yourself, you just notice and you come back and return again and again and again to the object that you've chosen to focus on. And into this contemplative space that you've created, just be open like a vessel, an open, empty vessel, ready to receive or be filled with Chochmat Lev, wisdom of the heart, of the mind, and just see what drops in and fills you. And trusting the body's innate wisdom, just notice what in your body wants some extra attention, and care today. And perhaps just dedicating your practice as an offering to that self-love, self-care of your body. And take one more moment. You can bring your hands at your heart center if you'd like. Just offer any other prayers. And as you're ready, you can come onto your mat, come onto your hands and knees, and take a few cat and cow stretches first. Yeah. So you'll spread your fingers, and on the cow, you drop the belly down and arch the back that direction. Shoulder blades hug towards each other. And on the exhale, you push down into the floor and puff up the upper back, the mid back, lengthen the low back. Chin can tuck to chest. So do a few of those, just undulating through the spine, finding wherever there feels like there's openness, there's constriction, just move how you need. And you don't need to stay on that linear grid. You can move side to side, you can take circles. So maybe another good word for this Chochmat Lev is intuition, right? What we intuitively know when we allow ourselves to perceive that versus trying to rationally, kind of deduce something with our thinking, right? There's what we think, and then there's what is just there, like this awareness, this understanding that comes from a deeper place, like we feel it. And that's what we're trying to tap into. And it's not to say that, one is better than the other. They're both needed. But according to the Kabbalists, you need all of the other spirot, and understanding God and all of that comes through Chochmah, right? Reshit Chochmah Yirat Adonai. I might have that backwards. Come into a child's pose for a moment. Just sit back on your heels. But the translation is that the beginning of wisdom is the awe of God, but it might be reversed, that the awe of God begins with wisdom. I'm probably misquoting. If somebody knows the actual, you can correct me. Good. So in your child's pose, soften the space behind the heart, if you can. Yeah, it feels funny because in this pose, you're actually puffing that up and stretching that. But see if even in this pose, you could soften a little bit behind that heart space, soften the shoulder blades, that mid-thoracic. And now make your seat a little bit heavier. So feel your tush a little heavier on the heels. And feel the lengthening out of that low back. If someone, like if I were in the room with you, I could just very, very gently put the palms of my hands on your sacrum and just give you a little extra weightedness. So imagine that weightedness so that you can like settle and release a little deeper. Good. All right, from here we'll come into our first down dog. So you can come back onto your hands and knees, tuck the toes, spread the fingers. Good. And you'll just lift the knees up off the ground, lift your seat up high. Head hangs down. Keep a bend in your knees to start. All right, first down dog of the morning. You want to be gentle here. And then you can pedal through the heels. So bend one knee deeply and try to straighten through the other leg. Just go back and forth a few times. So one really fabulous, very practical way to get out of too much thinking is to get into your sensation of your body instead, right? And that's one of the beauties of yoga practice and why it has such a calming effect on the mind, right? It's not just meditating. Sometimes meditating makes your mind even racier because you really hear and listen and see all the thoughts moving. But when you're in your physical body, you're sensing something different. Again, that's not verbal, it's felt. So just allow yourself to feel the pose here, whatever you need. Close your eyes. And just feel into the body, feel what it wants. Good. From here, you'll just walk your feet up towards your hands. Let yourself just hang in a ragdoll forward fold. Again, the knees are gentle. Maybe your shoulders want to take some circles here. Maybe you want to do a little bit of a bounce just to traction out the spine. Maybe you want to turn your head side to side, just loosening the neck muscles. And then as you're ready, bend the knees and slowly, slowly come up to stand. All right, let's do a little bit of standing, just stretching into this. We had a request earlier for sort of this like low back muscular stuff. So let's get into there. So first, just find a good Tadasana where your feet are grounded. Check out your toes, make sure they're spread. Good. Make sure your leg muscles are engaged and strong. So you're not collapsing lazily into the ground. You're rooting down to rise up. Good. Slight engagement in the belly. Let's just gently, gently, gently slide your right fingertips down the leg. Good. Now draw the belly into the back of the spine. Yeah. And you should feel a stretch in the left side waist, right? Through those. Now the neck feels good too. So actually relax this right arm. Just kind of like, yeah, spaghetti. Whew. And just feel the stretch happening in the left side of the neck. Yeah. Take that left hand out to the side and just circle a few times. Yeah, I see some of you giving a little extra traction. You can do that as well. If you want to take your fingertips gently, not pulling or yanking, just little gentle traction. You'll feel, yeah, awesome stretching. And notice that we didn't need, I mean, there were verbal instructions, right? There's verbal instructions. It's like the previous several Parshas were all the verbal instructions. Okay, you'll do this, and this is the measurement, and this is where this goes, and this is what it'll be made of. And it's the specifics. But then the actual doing is really quite intuitive instead, right? Now we're feeling it. We're feeling it. All right, come on back up to the center. Close your eyes for a moment. Just feel and see visually what's happening in the body. Good, let's go over to the other side. It's interesting when we go into that visual felt sense that the words do quiet down. I don't know about you, but on that here, loosen out that shoulder. Yeah. Keep the belly in again. We're really lengthening in this planed side. Yeah. It's like when you see color and you feel energy and temperature and movement, you don't have to label it all with words, right? You could just be in that experience. All right, and then if you want to take that little extra traction in the neck, and you could take that arm, yeah. And just close your eyes for a moment and feel. And let yourself move however it feels right to you, however your heart is called to offer in this moment. Good. And then slowly release the head and come back up. And again, you could just close your eyes and feel in your body. Bringing the hands together at the heart. Let's move through a little bit of flow. Do the best you can. We'll stop and hold poses after, but let's try to just get through a couple of flow just to heat up the body and move. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. As you exhale, bend the knees as you float down over the legs, drop the head low. Inhale, halfway up, so you're just flattening out that back, getting ready to move back with the legs. Good. The fingertips will come back to the ground, and you're going to step that right leg back behind you. Toes are tucked in, heel is behind. Inhale up to some effort at a lunge. Arms come up. It's okay if you're not quite balanced. As you exhale, you'll float the hands back to the floor. Step your front leg back to meet the back leg in plank. Belly draws in and up. Nice and strong. Good. Lower the knees down to the ground. And then slowly bend the elbows. Lower the chest down to the ground. Untuck the toes. Yep. You're going to inhale a low cobra. So the hands are spread. You're just gently peeling the shoulders and the upper back, the upper chest off the mat. Good. Belly in, hugging the back of the spine to protect the low back. Good. Exhale, bend the knees, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here in your down dog. Feel the breath moving through the body. Feel the lungs expanding.
The sound of the breath itself can become a mantra that you're focusing on. On your next inhale, gaze up between the hands. You're going to step that right foot all the way back up to the front. You might need to help it along. That's okay. And then you're going to come up for the lunge here. High lunge, arms rise up overhead. Put a smile on your face. You got this. Exhale the hands back down to the mat. Step that back foot up to the front of the mat. Come up halfway to that flat back. Yeah, very nice, very nice. Lower back down, drop the head. Bend the knees. Inhale, rise all the way up. And exhale your hands to the heart. Okay, one more time, just like that. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, lengthen the spine, belly in. Exhale, fingertips to the floor. This time, step the left foot back first. Give yourself space between that front foot, back foot. Inhale, up to the lunge. Good, make sure your front knee is bent. Front knee bent, front knee bent. Yes, good. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back to your plank. You can lower the knees first, or you can lower as one flat, strong board to the floor through your chaturanga push-up. Inhale to that cobra. This time in your cobra, take your elbows out to the sides to start. Oh, you can't see me, sorry. Yeah, so in the cobra pose, you're gonna just take the elbows out to the sides, like wide. Yep. And then from there, you're just gonna squeeze, like hug them back in towards them sideways. And you'll feel your lats engage, that mid back, those muscles are really working. You'll feel the shoulders pull down from the ears. Good. Your heart rate might get fast here. Good. Release that. Come back onto your hands and knees, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Nice. Abby, can you bring your feet slightly closer to each other? There you go. And bend your knees a tiny bit so you can lift your hip bones up higher and draw the belly closer to the thighs. Nope, the other way. Belly close. Right there. Now drop your head. Beautiful. Yeah. Amy, your feet are a little far back from your hands. Walk your feet a tiny. Yep. Now bend your knees a teeny bit. There you go. You see how you're just lengthened more into the low back? Good. Okay, from here, you're going to gaze up between your hands. This time that left foot steps all the way to the front of the mat. Come on all the way up to your lunge. There you go. Nice. Fold the hands back to the floor. Look up. Step your back foot up. Inhale to that flat back. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, rise all the way up. And hands to the heart. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a warrior series to get into that low back and like these muscles in here. Okay, so we'll start this way. Inhale your arms up to the sky. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale to that halfway. Get the belly hugging in nice and strong. Good. Fingertips, actually a full hand down to the floor. You're going to step back to plank. Yeah, hold your plank here for a moment. Good. And then you can step your feet in a few inches closer and press back into your down dog. Yeah, so what I was showing some people before is that if your pose is too far, then you're, kind of rounded in the back. And you want to be able to kind of drop the belly closer towards the thigh. Yeah, so that you can lengthen out of this part of the low back instead of puffing it up and rounding it. Can you see what I'm showing you here? How like that's sort of rounded in the low back. But if I can just sort of gently scoop the belly in and create some more length out of that low back. That feels good. All right, from here, take your right leg up to the sky, down dog split. Yeah. And then you can drop that right heel over behind you towards your left tush. And just spin your torso open. Look under your right armpit. Yep. And reach that right knee like sort of behind you so that you feel you're getting more length in that side waist here. Yeah. Good. All right. You're going to drop the knee back down so it's level with the other. You're going to look forward between your hands. Step that foot all the way forward. And you're going to come up into a warrior two pose with that right foot forward, right? Okay, so, yeah. How should I show this? Yeah. So the front knee is bent. Here's the alignments. Here are the schematics, right? This much weight out of gold, out of silver, out of purple, argamon, and crimson thread. The knee doesn't go past the ankle. It's aligned over the ankle or slightly behind it. The inner thighs are wrapping out and back. The tailbone is lengthening and the belly is in. Arms can extend here. Yeah. But then breathe in the pose, right? So you know the schematic. Now you create. The creation part is about actually experiencing and dropping into the physicalness of it, the physicality. So where is the breath in the pose? And you can close your eyes to feel that. Where's the strength in the pose and where's the softness? All right, you're going to drop the left hand against the left leg. Lift that right arm up and over. Don't lose the bend. The tendency is to kind of lean back out of the knee. Don't do that. Keep the knee there, but you're lengthening this hold out of that front hip. You're lengthening the side waist. Good. Breathe into that rib cage. Keep the belly drawing in and up here. Yeah. Good. And then we're going to come forward. So now the back heel becomes an anchor and you're really lengthening out of that back heel. You can bring the front forearm to the thigh. If you'd like, you could bring that forearm to the inside of the thigh, fingertips to the floor or a block, or to the outside. So you'll feel a really nice stretch of this side waist. But again, the belly is drawing in, and there's also a little twist here. So you want to think about your right rib cage wrapping around towards the left, towards the ceiling. Yeah. That top arm then can also extend long by the ear. Close your eyes for a moment. And what I want you to focus and fill your mind with is every time you exhale, draw the belly button in as tight as you can towards the back of the spine. Every time you inhale, just release the belly. Exhale, pull that belly in, and then release. Good. You can bring that hand back to your hip. Let's just play since we're already here. Step your back foot in a tiny bit closer. You're going to step your front hand out farther than the pinky toe side of that front foot. You can bring the hand to the block or the floor and just come into a balance here. You're just doing your best. Good. Remember the feeling of the belly pulling into the spine. Good. So a little half moon pose here. If you've got your balance, maybe you turn your gaze so you're not looking down at the floor. Instead, you're looking straight out in the same direction as your heart. If you've got that, maybe you take that top arm up to the sky. The back leg is strong. The foot is reaching out as if you're pressing into a wall. Yep. Whee. And then lower that leg back down. Good. Let's come back up into our warrior two for just one last moment. Woo. Good. All right, and then you can cartwheel your hands to the floor. Bring it back to either your choice, down dog, child's pose if you want. You can come into a plank pose here. You could do some push-ups, whatever you need. And when you're ready, you'll come back to down dog and take your left leg up to the sky. Down dog split. Yep. You can open that hip. Drop the leg behind you. Yep. Good, good, good. All right. And then from here with that left leg, you're going to look forward between the hands. You're going to step it all the way up, turn the other foot back, and you're coming into warrior two. So just feel your way into the pose. There's all the verbal that you know, the rational, the logical, and then there's the feeling. Like, how does this feel today, right now, this moment? What am I being inspired to do here? What's being called forth from inside of my own knowing? And again, you may close your eyes and just breathe here. And take any movements here that feel right or any stillness. That right hand will drop against the back leg, and you're just going to lean yourself backwards out of that front hip. So you're stretching the side waist on the left side now. You don't have to strain your head or neck here. Find a place, right? Intuitively, where's the place where your head and neck feel happy? Good. We'll come forward into the extended side angle. Again, a little bit of that feeling of twist here. So the lower rib cage is wrapping around, belly in. Yeah. Trying to keep some depth in that front knee so that you're still stretching the inner thighs as well. And then this right arm can come up to the sky or overhead or behind your head, whatever it feels your body wants this morning. Yeah, see what your neck wants. Maybe your head wants to turn down and look at your front toe. Maybe that feels way better than looking all the way up to the sky. All right, and then we're gonna go into that half moon. So you could bring your right hand to the right hip, just step that foot in a moment so that you set up. Lock our hand to the floor in front of the left pinky toe, and you step the weight into the left leg. Zip up the energy in the inner thigh. Find the belly drawing back to the spine. The leg that's behind you is trying to be straight and strong. But where's the softness here? Right? Where's the softness? Keep the belly strong, especially. It's not the low back muscles or the mid back muscles that are working in this pose. That's where the softness is actually. Right? It's the belly is working, the legs. Whee! Bring the hand down to the floor. Step the back foot back to your warrior. Come up one more time into your warrior. Good. And just straighten the front foot. And then turn your feet so that they're both facing in the same direction. Yeah. Good. Keep your hands to your hips. You're gonna, and keep a block nearby. You may need the block. Depends on your flexibility here. So hands to the hips. You're gonna lean forward, forward, forward. Again, kind of trying to do this with a straight back. So the belly has to really be strong here. right? That flat, same kind of flat back feeling. And then remember we hugged the elbows in that Cobra. So kind of hug your elbows in here. Feel how nice and strong and integrated the back is. Good. And then go down the rest of the way. Feel the pelvic floor lifting in and up. Feel the belly lifting in and up. Maybe it even feels like it hollows out a little bit. Fingertips come to the floor and release the head. The crown of the head is just yearning for the ground. The ears are relaxed. There's like space growing between the shoulders and the ears. And close your eyes here and just see visually what is happening in the headspace right now. Maybe whatever image or word or mantra you called up at the beginning of the practice, maybe return to that here for just a moment. All right, we're going to take a little twist here. So just place the right fingertips underneath your face. Take your left hand, flat palm side of the hand to the low back. And right here, just try to, and you can bend your knees here as well. That's totally fine. And you can also be up on a block. Yeah. But we're just going to lengthen out of this lumbar spine. So I want you to imagine your tailbone and your hips are pulling back behind you, but your heart space is lengthening forward. So you're just tractioning really specifically out of this lower back. Belly is hugging in and up. And then maybe a tiny little extra twist, not a lot. You're definitely not dropping the hips under you or elevating that hip. You're just pulling the belly in and thinking about the rib cage kind of rolling underneath and open. Good. And then switch sides. So the hand comes to the flat of the back, and almost like you could use that hand to press your tailbone back behind you. Belly draws in more, and the front of the spine is drawing forward. So you're pulling your spine apart, lengthening in two directions. And then engage the oblique abdominals. So you feel like there's the sideways muscles are lifting and turning slightly. Good. Release that all the way out. You can heel toe your feet closer together. Yeah. Bend the knees. Come on up to stand. Ooh, shake the shoulders out a little bit. Okay, let's bring it down to the floor and do a little bit more like low back and side bend stretchy stuff. So come on down to your mat. And then we'll also do a little bit of core. If you have a belt or a strap, you might want to bring that here. Okay. So you're going to extend your right leg out in front of you, bend the left foot into the inner thigh. Sit up nice and tall here, pelvic floor muscles engaged, that feeling of like lifting and containing upward. Soften the shoulders, heart is open. The extended foot in front of you is flexed, so the heel is pushing forward, but the toes are pulling back towards the face. Okay, strap, block, all kinds of choices here. First thing you're going to do is walk your fingertips forward to the place where you're not in pain, but you're definitely feeling a stretch in the back of that hamstring. Good. And once you're there, you're going to bend the elbows so that you can draw your chest in, your belly, really the low belly, closer into the thigh. Your chest is sort of trying to reach past the knee. So this feeling of like pouring yourself forward and over that knee. Good. So definitely a big stretch in the extended leg, but actually what we're also really opening here in this pose is we're opening the lower back on that right side, left side. Sorry, I'm opposite you right now. Yeah. So now try to drop your left shoulder down a little bit more. Aha. Yeah. Now, one thing that can also help to stretch out that lower left back is if you take your left hand and find a little bit of a clasp to the outside of the right shin, right? You see where I'm doing that? And then using that bent elbow, drop the shoulder and kind of draw yourself in even closer. Another thing you could do is reach for the outer pinky toe, right? Outer pinky toe of that extended leg. And so you're just giving yourself 2 points of contact from which to lengthen out of that low back. Just breathe here. Might also feel nice to take your right fingertips and actually bring them behind you. So you're kind of, again, getting that right shoulder down, the left shoulder in. So you feel there's a little bit of a twist. The twist is helping you lengthen the low back muscles. Good. All right, you're going to come back up. This is where you might want the strap. So you're still in the same pose, but you can, if it feels good for you, you can kind of open the knee maybe out a little bit more. So the heel, instead of being against the inner thigh, maybe that heel even comes into its own thigh, like side, depending on your flexibility here, okay? Because now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go sideways in this twist, yeah. So you're going to slide the right forearm all the way into the inner leg. Maybe you clasp onto the big toe. Maybe it just rests next to the thigh. Maybe it rests on a block. The forearm rests on a block. Sit down. Make sure both your sit bones are on the ground. That left sit bone is really pressing down. You're going to reach over. And this is where the strap comes in handy. If you want, you can use the strap to connect to that foot. And then that elbow again can reach up. So we're really lengthening out of this whole lower back and into the side waist. The tendency here is to roll up off of that sit bone, but make sure you're not doing that. The more you sit down in that sit bone, the more you actually have the anchor from which you can then lengthen those low back muscles. And again, find your belly button here and pull it in. And then go into your inner experience, your breath, the muscles. Is that pose a Mahaya? Oh, yes, it is. It's like, such a Mahaya. Okay, one last one on this side. So you still have that right leg out in front of you. You're going to take the left foot and cross it over the knee, across the midline of the body. You're trying to make sure both sit bones are still sitting down on the ground. You don't want to be up here. If you're up here, place a pillow or something under both hip sit bones, not just the one that's elevated, okay? So you want to be sitting tall, and you want to try to get that big toe all the way down. You're not here with the foot up. You're trying to get the whole foot down, including that big toe pressing down, and then sit up really tall here. Get your shoulders down out of your ears. Again, notice that feeling of the elbows pulling in. That is strengthening the lat muscles on the mid back. Right? The stronger we make our mid back, the less we overuse the low back muscles. So we're trying to train ourselves to be strong. Okay, little twist here. So you can hug that knee, and the other hand, left fingertips come behind you. You sit up tall, and then you begin to twist. So the left shoulder leans back. You'll feel this out of the low back. Again, a little mula bandha, that pelvic floor engagement, Kegel here, so that that's engaged and you're lifting up and in from around that point. Good. Unwind. Let's take a little counter twist the other direction. All right. Before we switch sides, just take your feet together. Take out the hips. Maybe take some circles here. And any opportunity you have to close your eyes, take that. And see if you can prioritize seeing imagery, feeling senses over thinking thoughts. All right, second side, left leg extends, right foot comes to the inner thigh. Sitting on both sit bones, elevating, and then lengthen slowly, fingertip, fingertip. Yep. And wherever it is you are, you'll soften the elbows and fold in. You can also use the strap here, but the caution is not to overuse the strap where you're tensing up into the shoulders and the neck, right? Sometimes the strap is helpful, but sometimes we become more tense if we're not mindful. Now think about for a minute, also squeezing the front, the top of the right, which leg do you have forward, left? The top of the left thigh. Think about squeezing the top of the left thigh. Notice how that brings you in a little deeper. And again, drop the right shoulder down, the right ribs, drop them down towards the floor. And slight lift of the left ribs up away from the floor. That's going to bring you into that twist so the low back can lengthen. You can take the right fingers to the outside of that left shin. I forgot to give you that cue if you want. Just see how that feels different. Right, go into that place of Chochmat Lev, the wisdom of your own heart, mind, body to tell you what it is feeling and needing. And slowly come up, and we'll transition into that twisted version of the pose of Rita Janya Shirshasana. So you're going to slide the left arm to the inside or on top of the left leg or a block. Maybe you find your strap and you're reaching, reaching, reaching. That back hip and sit bone are grounded. Yeah, instead of having your arm up in the air in an uncomfortable place, you might want to just bring that upper arm. You could even bring it to the floor. That sort of closes off the back. What's nicer maybe is to bring it slightly behind the back. So if you can't bring it overhead and connect with a strap or the toe, bring it behind you here, like putting the hand to the low back so that you're keeping the shoulder open. Yeah. Another option is just to put that hand on this thigh and kind of press that thigh down to the ground, give it a little bit more weight so that you remember to lengthen away from it. So just slowly make your way up. And we're going to bring the right foot across the left leg.
You can move that left leg a little bit more towards the midline as well. That'll help give you a little bit more space. Yeah. And make sure you're on both sit bones. Sit up tall, shoulders down, heart open. And then finding whatever feels right for you in your body in this twist. I definitely would encourage you to close your eyes and just see color, see shape. There's a lot of spiraling action here. Maybe you feel it just evokes images of things that naturally spiral in nature. And come over and take the open twist to the other direction. Leaning back, draw the belly in to the low back. Good. All right. Come onto your back. So whatever you need here before Shavasana, what I would recommend is maybe some just gentle pelvic tilts just to kind of ground the sacrum and engage upper and lower abs here. You might want to take a reclining glute stretch if that is what you need, or just a simple hugging the knees into the chest and rolling through to massage the sacrum, the low back. So learning to trust your own inner knowing, trust your own creativity in your body's movement. And then whenever you're ready, you can rest in your Shavasana for the next minute. And then just return your awareness to some felt sense within the body. You're just feeling your weight on the ground. Take a moment to offer some morning gratitude to your physical body. And maybe offering a blessing for yourself to continue to create the time and space in your life to allow yourself to tap into your own chochmah, your own wisdom. When you're ready, you can stretch your arms up overhead, stretch through the fingers and toes. And then again, hugging the knees in and sitting up gently. Shalom, everybody, and namaste.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.